Today, we're delving into a case that once sent shockwaves through public opinion in China. The murder of a mother by her biological son, Wu Xieyu. On May 30th, 2023, the Fujian Provincial High People's Court conducted an open appeal trial for Wu Xieyu, a former elite student of Peking University who had murdered his mother several years prior. The court ultimately rejected the appeal and upheld the death sentence for the defendant, Wu Xieyu. In this video, we will review the entire case, examining why someone once hailed as an academic genius would brutally murder his own mother and descend into darkness. From the moment the case was made public until the two sentencing pronouncements, the label of academic prodigy for Wu Xieyu was the most frequently mentioned keyword in the media. This extraordinary IQ was inherited from his parents.
Wu Xieyu's mother, Miss Xie Tianqin, was born in the 1960s, the eldest child in her family. Both of her parents were blind. Therefore, from a young age, Miss Xie Tianqin had to bear the responsibility of caring for her younger siblings. The difficult circumstances forged a strong, resilient woman, more so than her peers. This maturity and willpower helped her become the only university student among her cohort in the 1980s. After graduating from normal school, Miss Xie Tianqin was assigned to teach history at Nanping Railway Workers Middle School. There, she met Mr. Wu Xieyu, Wu Xieyu's father, who also came from a poor background.
Mr. Wu Xieyu was born in a village in Xianyou County, Putian City, Fujian Province. He was the only son in his family. At the age of 8, he lost his father. His grandfather later died of liver cancer. His younger sister suffered from intellectual disability and schizophrenia. In such challenging circumstances, with extraordinary willpower, Mr. Wu Xieyu passed the entrance exam for Fujian University. After graduating, he found a job at a guest house in Nanping. However, his health was consistently poor.
In 1992, Miss Xie Tianqin and Mr. Wu Xieyu married in Nanping. 2 years later, Wu Xieyu was born. In late 1995, the Nanping Railway Workers Middle School, where Miss Xie Tianqin taught, was dissolved, and the entire family moved to Fuzhou. Miss Xie Tianqin continued her work teaching history at Fuzhou Education Institute No. 2. In 2000, the school built a new dormitory complex for teachers, and Miss Xie Tianqin was assigned a 2-bedroom, 1-living-room apartment on the first floor. The family of 3 moved from the old dormitory to this new apartment. Wu Xieyu's academic performance was consistently outstanding from a young age. He was always the class monitor. In high school, he participated in the National Physics Olympiad and won 3rd prize in the Fuzhou region. In his junior year of high school, he received the highest scholarship at Fuzhou No. 1 Middle School, the Sanmu Chiting Scholarship. Because he always topped his classmates nicknamed him Yu Shen, rain god, implying that wherever the rain falls, plants flourish, meaning wherever Wu Xieyu goes, he excels. He was enthusiastic, polite, and enjoyed playing basketball. As class president, he was always willing to help others and never argued with anyone. He focused on studying and solving problems. In everyone's eyes, he was an academic god, and ideal role model for learning.
他就是在几乎在所有人的眼里，他都是成绩非常好那一种学神了，已经不是学霸。然后在生活上，他很喜欢打篮球，然后跑步什么的，然后还有在生活的为人处事上也都很热情。要聊健谈嘛，就我跟他接触的比较多的，可能就是在跑步上嘛。
In 2008, Wu Xiyu's father, like his grandfather, was diagnosed with liver cancer and returned to his hometown in Xianyou for treatment. During this time, the mother and son frequently visited him. At other times, Wu Xieyu buried himself in his studies, believing that achieving high scores in exams would be a spiritual tonic to help his father fight the disease. In 2009, he was admitted to Fuzhou No.1 Middle School with the second highest score in the entire city. When talking about his son, Mr. Wu Xieyu was always full of pride, but just 6 months later, he passed away. Wu Xiyu's teachers recalled that after his father's death, the boy, who was previously a little mischievous, became quieter and more mature. His husband's death was also a major turning point in Mrs. Xie Tianqin's life. Previously, whether at work or in life, whether with acquaintances or strangers, she did not like to communicate much. She always wore glasses, dressed meticulously, never wore skirts, and her clothes were mostly dark. She gave those around her an impression of strictness and a certain aloofness. After her husband's death, she became even more quiet, sensitive, and almost shut herself off from the outside world. The burden of the family silently fell on Mrs. Xie Tianqin's shoulders. However, with her resilient personality, she refused the survivor's benefit from the agency, and the 18,000 yuan, which is approximately $2,356, in donations from colleagues and friends. She poured all her energy into Wu Xieyu, and Wu Xieyu, once again, saw academic excellence as the only way to comfort her mother.
In the college entrance examination, Wu Xieyu scored 670 points. Along with direct admission, he enrolled in the School of Economics at Peking University. In his first year of university, he was voted a 3 good student, meaning good in ethics, good in studies, and good in physical fitness. In his second year, he received the Lao Kaiwan Scholarship worth 10,000 yuan, approximately $1,292. His GPA was 3.95, almost a perfect score, placing him in the top 5% worldwide. Thanks to this achievement, he also received a 6,000 yuan bonus from a test preparation center. Whether in the Xie or Wu families, Wu Xieyu was always the pride of everyone. But all that glory ended in his third year of university. After entering university, Wu Xieyu still called his mother every night. It was the most important thing in his day. He also frequently expressed his love for his mother on the university's internal network. However, the mother and son were not good at communicating with each other. Mrs. Xie Tianqin often walked alone on campus with a worried expression, while Wu Xieyu, whenever he was sad, would run laps around the stadium. It seems he still hadn't escaped the shadow of his father's death. In the quiet late nights, he became depressed, feeling he had contracted the same illness as his father and contemplated self-harm. Masturbation was also one of his difficult problems. He tried to quit this bad habit many times, but relapsed. After researching how to quit online and persisting for over 40 days, his weak will finally succumbed. According to him, the power of life had been completely crushed by the power of death. He began to skip classes without reason, leading to a warning from the school. His roommates also said that he often hid behind thick curtains in the dormitory, and no one knew what he did all day.
During the winter break of his third year of university in 2015, Wu Xieyu returned home for Chinese New Year. Death had been planned by him in advance. He thought his mother also wanted to be with his father.
我说妈，如果你我本来想说我觉得挺没意思的啊，如果你也想和我一样的话，那我们就一起回家吧。到我爸身边，我说，但我没有问，拍了，然后我觉得他的答案跟我一样，然后我就回学校，然后当我决定了之后，我就无法回头。
In the second semester of his third year of university, Wu Xieyu received a scholarship and moved out of the Peking University dormitory. In late June, before returning to Fuzhou, he went online and bought bone knives, kitchen knives, surgical knives, saws, plastic tarps, dehumidifiers, vacuum pumps, vacuum bags, medical protective clothing, and more. In early July, Wu Xieyu returned home for the summer holidays. The mother and son met a colleague of his mother in the hallway. Wu Xieyu proactively greeted them, and the three chatted for a few moments before parting ways. A few days later, on July 10th, the date Wu Xieyu specifically chose because, when reversed, it was his birthday. July 10th was also the day Miss She Tianjin's school held its end-of-year ceremony. While his mother attended the ceremony, Wu Xieyu prepared his tools. Around 5 p.m., Miss She Tianjin returned home from work. Taking advantage of his mother changing shoes, Wu Xieyu used a dumbbell bar to strike him in the back of the head, then continued to hit her face repeatedly until she died. Next, he used tape to wrap his mother's head and moved the body into his bedroom. He also installed surveillance cameras in the house. From July 12th to July 23rd, Wu Xieyu repeatedly bought a total of 34 packets of charcoal, 19 rolls of plastic wrap, vacuum bags, waterproof fabric, and wallpaper online. He used charcoal, refrigerator deodorizer, dehumidifiers, along with bed sheets, duvet covers, clothes, etc., to wrap his mother's body like a mummy, a total of 75 layers. More than 20 days after murdering his mother, Wu Xieyu rented a room at a hotel near his home. During the day, he cleaned up the crime scene, and at night, he returned to the hotel to sleep.
On July 23rd, Wu Xieyu began impersonating his mother, sending messages to relatives and friends saying that he and his son would go to the United States as exchange students at MIT on July 25th. He used the excuse of needing money for overseas travel to borrow from relatives and friends, even leaving behind the 18,000 won, approximately $2,356, that his mother's colleagues had donated when his father died. In total, he borrowed 1.44 million won, approximately $190,000. To avoid suspicion, Wu Xieyu deliberately asked everyone to transfer money to his mother's China construction bank card. He didn't know his mother's bank card password, but he guessed it must be his birthday. On July 24th on Bodo, a Q&A website similar to Quora, an anonymous question appeared. My father passed away. My mother was killed by her son. Do the victim's relatives have the right to file a civil lawsuit against her son? The questioner was suspected to be Wu Xieyu. In late July, Wu Xiyu's high school physics teacher met him. At that time, Wu Xieyu said that he returned home to deal with some matters while his mother was still in Beijing. Afterward, the physics teacher's wife wanted to visit Miss She Tianjin, but could not reach her by phone. In August, Wu Xieyu copied his mother's diary, cut and pasted some letters to forge a resignation letter, and sent it to the high school where Miss She Tianjin taught. Over the next few months, Wu Xieyu moved between Shanghai, Beijing, and Fuzhou. In October, Miss She Tianjin's head of department received a resignation letter sent from Shanghai. The resignation letter was 2 pages long. The handwriting on the first page showed signs of being copied and forged, while the signature on the second page did not resemble Miss She Tianjin's signature. On October 7th, Wu Xiyu's birthday, he talked to a friend about his plans to study abroad after graduation. In the same month, he used a fake ID card to rent a room at a hotel in Fuzhou. In late December, Wu Xieyu returned to the Peking University dormitory, asked his roommate about retaking courses from the second semester of his junior year, and then left. From then until January 2016, he had relations with 6 sex workers and recorded videos. He spent nearly 1 million won, approximately $129,200 on entertainment and over $500,000 on lottery tickets. While in Shanghai, Wu Xieyu met and dated a sex worker named Xiao Liu. Some media outlets reported that he had once offered over $100,000 to propose to her. In January 2016, Xiao Liu and Wu Xieyu traveled to Hong Kong for a few days. On January 24th, Xiao Liu returned to her hometown in Henan for Chinese New Year. The next day, Wu Xieyu went to Henan to find Xiao Liu. renting a room at the Dofeng Mingju Hotel in Yongsheng City. Footage of him withdrawing money at an ATM was captured by surveillance cameras. This was the last time he appeared in public before his arrest. Xiao Liu recalled that on January 24th, Wu Xieyu seemed very disturbed. He asked her, "If I die, what will you do?" On the same day, Wu Xieyu messaged his uncle, saying that he and his mother would return to their hometown for Chinese New Year, expected to arrive at Putian Fujian train station on February 6th. On February 6th, Wu Xiyu's uncle went to the train station to pick them up, but saw no one. Calls and messages went unanswered, and knocking on the door at home also yielded no response. Worried, his uncle reported it to the police. Initially, the police suspected the mother and son were hiding from debt. Some relatives sought help from Miss Shi Tianqin's superiors, but were refused. In the evening, Miss Shi Tianqin's colleague and neighbor, teacher Ma, met Wu Xiyu's uncle and aunt who were searching for the mother and son. They asked teacher Ma if Miss Shi Tianqin had ever mentioned going to the US to study abroad with her son. Teacher Ma replied that he had never heard such a thing. Wu Xiyu's aunt suddenly realized something was wrong.
In another development, on February 7th, Xiao Liu returned to the hotel and found that Wu Xiyu had disappeared. On the hotel room floor were scattered fragments of a broken computer. Later, in the first instance trial, Wu Xiyu stated that the computer contained many pornographic videos, and he destroyed the computer to avoid detection. On February 14th, the first working day after the Lunar New Year holiday, many of Miss Xie Tianqin's relatives reported the incident to the police. The police arrived at apartment 102, Building 5, Jishan Road, Jing'an District, Fuzhou City, where Miss Xie Tianqin and Wu Xiyu lived, a dormitory apartment for teachers. After breaking down the door, the police found a dummy wrapped in a plastic bag on the bed in Wu Xiyu's bedroom. They then found Miss Xie Tianqin's real body under the bed. Both the living room and bedroom had surveillance cameras and alarm devices. Wires were connected to a computer, allowing the house situation to be monitored via a phone. The curtains were tightly drawn. All light gaps were sealed with wallpaper bought online. On the balcony, several plastic tarps and a disposable glove were drying. Wu Xiyu, the missing person who had deceived all his relatives, became the prime suspect. On March 3rd, Fuzhou police issued a wanted notice for Wu Xiyu with the reward of 50,000 yuan, which is approximately $6,460. On March 19th, Shangqiu Henan police assisted in tracking down Wu Xiyu according to the wanted notice. After the case was publicized, the question on Baidu was flooded with calls for Wu Xiyu to turn himself in. After leaving Hainan, Wu Xiyu went to Shanghai, Tongchuan, etc. due to the intense search in coastal provinces. Finally, in September 2016, he fled to Chongqing, in Shapingba District, Keilun-por. During the day, he worked as a tutor at a tutoring center. At night, he worked as a male escort at a bar called JC Bar near Guanyanshao, entertaining guests and pouring drinks. Everyone called him Xiao Long, or Little Dragon. Managers and colleagues said that Xiao Long always smiled, drank well, liked to smoke, enjoyed singing Cantonese songs, did not like to take pictures, and knew English. Whenever foreigners came to the bar, he was the one who received them. He always said he was a Tsinghua University student. Although everyone thought he was bragging, they still felt he was somehow different from other people working in the bar.
给他朋友圈嘛，从来没发，就发这些新闻，知道吧？你看就发新闻，都是新闻。他朋友圈我看过了，都是新闻，全部是新闻，什么一些古代的那种东西，我也看。
Colleagues said that although Xiao Long was not handsome, he was tall, well-built, and very humble. He never argued back when scolded and never bothered with trivial matters. He often smoked alone in a corner, was very attentive, knew how to clean tables and open car doors for guests. Xiao Long earned quite a bit of money, making about 400 yuan in tips each time he worked. If requested by customers to give flower garlands, he could earn an additional 500 yuan, approximately $64.6. Sometimes he shared tips with the service staff in the room and often invited colleagues to eat hot pot. Wu Xieyu lived in Chongqing for 2 years, renting an apartment in a complex on Beixing Road, Jiangbei District. The rent for an apartment in this complex at that time was about 2,400 and 3,500 yuan per month, approximately $311.60 to $456. In addition, Wu Xieyu also spent time maintaining relationships with customers, such as going out and dating them. This is a video posted by an anonymous Weibo user. According to verification by reporters from Sawan People Weekly, with Wu Xiyu's high school and university classmates, the person lying on the grass reading The Economist in the video is Wu Xiyu. The person who filmed the video is believed to be his client. To avoid detection, Wu Xiyu never took high-speed trains, airplanes, or buses, mainly traveling by taxi. He also bought more than 30 fake ID cards online. Chong Wen, Ji Long were all names he used. The tutoring center and bar he worked at did not require complex identity verification procedures, so no one knew about the heinous crime he had committed.
Around dawn, on April 20, 2018, Wu Xiyu arrived at Chongqing Jiangbei Airport to see off a female friend. As he passed through security checkpoint 3 in Terminal 2, his image was captured by surveillance cameras and attracted attention.
最开始看那个人面的时候，有点像是网站他的人物，直接就过来问他。
他当时是进去坐飞机吗？
坐飞机，送你。
他是送到这个位置吗？
送的那个跳的。
在外头的柜台那儿吗？
Wu Xiyu, who had been on the run for nearly 3 years, was arrested by Chongqing police. It seemed he had anticipated this and was waiting for them to arrive.
他跟我们说的，他都是故意，反正现在就告诉他妈妈让他杀了。他说的意思，他说的不想让我妈妈在里面待太久，然后离开了地方。
Subsequently, Wu Xiyu was transferred to Fuzhou Police and detained at Fuzhou City No. 1 Detention Center. Fuzhou Police conducted a preliminary interrogation with Wu Xiyu for about 8 hours. According to some media reports, Wu Xiyu did not deny murdering his mother, but regarding the motive, the process of the crime, his situation after the crime, etc., the core issues of the case, he almost did not answer directly. In the detention center, Wu Xiyu wrote at least 3 handwritten letters totaling over 50,000 characters to his uncle, aunt, and the relatives and friends he had defrauded. He wrote about his childhood, his father's death, the act of personally killing his mother, deceiving everyone, and his life on the run until his arrest. In the letter, Wu Xiyu explained the reason for defrauding money. He believed that his father gave up treatment and returned home to await death because he had no money for treatment. Relatives and friends should have helped wholeheartedly, but did not offer assistance, leading to tragedy for their family of 3. He also blamed his own delusions and stubbornness. He was addicted to novels and movies. Based on his mother's liking for Dream of the Red Chamber and actor Leslie Chang, he arbitrarily speculated that his mother, like Leslie Chang and Lin Daiyu, also wished to die. Therefore, Wu Xiyu said his motive was to help her find liberation. Afterward, so as not to defile the souls of his parents, he placed his mother's body in his bedroom. He also wanted to use the surveillance cameras to witness his mother's soul transcending. Then he repeatedly hypnotized himself that his mother was not dead, but actually gone to the United States with him. After the case was made public, 30 members of the Wu family jointly signed a petition for leniency, hoping he would be given a chance to atone. His aunt also stated through the internet that she had forgiven Wu Xiyu. Wu Xiyu asked someone to deliver letters of repentance to his uncle and aunt. He said he was only 27 years old and wanted to continue living to do more things.
In addition, he also gave up his right to inherit his parents' property. Afterward, Wu Xiyu's uncle said he had forgiven him, hoping he would repent in prison, write, and contribute something to society.
On December 24, 2020, the trial of Wu Xieyu's case of matricide and fraud was opened at the Fuzhou Intermediate People's Court. Before the trial, Wu Xieyu changed his testimony from killing his mother to liberate her to helping his mother commit suicide. At the trial, he recounted the murder in detail and cried when mentioning his father's death. The trial lasted over 4 hours. On August 26, 2021, the court publicly announced the verdict. The defendant, Wu Xieyu, was found guilty of intentional homicide, fraud, and illegal trading of ID cards, and was sentenced to death, deprived of political rights for life, and fined 103,000 yuan, which is approximately $13,452. Although he cooperated sincerely after his arrest, it was not enough for a reduced sentence. In September 2021, Wu Xieyu officially appealed, hoping to live to atone for his sins. In May 2022, the appeal trial was expected to be suspended due to force majeure. On May 19, 2023, the appeal trial was opened. Similar to the first instance trial, Wu Xieyu admitted to the crime but showed no remorse. According to him, killing his mother was not a pre-planned act, but a natural action like proving a mathematical formula. As for the motive, he still insisted it was to liberate his mother. Although forensic conclusions showed no evidence that Ms. Tianqin intended to commit suicide after her husband's death, at the appeal trial, Wu Xieyu's defense lawyer presented Ms. Tianqin's diary, which recorded pessimistic, desperate emotions and suicidal thoughts. The defense lawyer also mentioned Wu Xieyu's tendency towards mental illness and a history of mental illness in his family, requesting a mental evaluation for him. At the same time, they submitted an expert mental evaluation report suggesting that Wu Xieyu most likely suffered from severe depression with psychotic symptoms at the time of the crime. The prosecution argued that Wu Xieyu committed the crime with clear logic, preparation, and organization, and had the capacity for criminal responsibility, so a mental evaluation was unnecessary. On May 30th, the appeal court publicly announced the verdict, rejecting the appeal and upholding the death sentence.
If you didn't know the truth, it would be hard to recognize the true nature and complex emotions of this person just by looking at his outward appearance. Wu Xieyu's high school teacher commented on him that his only weakness was that he had no weaknesses. Whether friends, colleagues, or ex-girlfriends, everyone had a very good impression of him. No one could imagine that he could commit such an act. In their memories, Wu Xieyu always smiled, was amiable and cheerful, never arguing or causing conflict with anyone. Older students, teachers, and elders all received his congratulatory messages on holidays. Wu Xieyu's cellmates in the detention center also said that he often helped those with lower education levels write letters. Everyone found it unbelievable that such a person could commit such a heinous crime. After murdering his mother, Wu Xieyu decapitated and dismembered the body. Then he used charcoal and plastic wrap to wrap his mother's body layer by layer. He installed surveillance cameras at the scene, faked his mother's blood to defraud money, spent hundreds of thousands of yuan on lottery tickets, and recorded pornographic videos. Clearly, even more than a criminal with a high IQ, Wu Xieyu's ability to self-control, his calmness, and his coldness were unsettlingly devoid of hesitation or emotion.
There are some people who, though grown up, seem to have never left their mother's womb. This adult pregnancy is called psychological symbiosis. After entering university, Wu Xiyu still called his mother every day, sharing his schedule, joys, and sorrows.
but could not truly communicate and confide. In his subconscious, he had absorbed his mother's pursuit of excellence, loneliness, conservatism, and pressure. According to him, he also bore these painful emotions and had become accustomed to that position. It even developed to the point that when mother smiles, I am happy. When mother frowns, I am sad. They seemed to be each other's sole reason for existence. In such a symbiotic relationship, no one can live independently. To live alone, one must first kill the other. So if, according to Wu Xieyu's logic, does killing his mother equate to committing suicide? Killing his mother is physical, while committing suicide is psychological. From Wu Xiyu to Xiao Long, from academic god to male escort, one could say that Wu Xiyu's ego found an outlet under the guise of liberating his mother. This aligns with the concept of strangling symbiosis mentioned by psychologist Wu Xieyu in his book Indigenous People. The father was like a safety valve and an inhibitor for this mother-son symbiotic relationship. After his death, these effects also disappeared. Therefore, Wu Xiyu's distress when mentioning his father at the trial may not have been simply due to his deep affection for his father. Regarding media reports that Mr. Wu Xiejian had an affair leading to his parents' divorce and a significant change in Wu Xiyu's personality, according to an interview by the Beijing News with the Wu family, this information is false. However, it is also possible that liberating his mother and mother-son symbiosis were merely lies. Criminal psychologist Wu Bating, after reviewing Wu Xiyu's testimony in court, believes that his testimony is consistent with the psychological rationalization of criminal behavior in criminal psychology. The true motive for killing his mother may have other reasons. It cannot be denied that Wu Xiyu is a very intelligent person with a strong will to survive. He repeatedly stated in his testimony and at the trial that he intended to commit suicide after killing his mother. He also said that he had tried to do so when killing his mother, but gave up due to fear. However, his actual actions were completely contrary to expected logic. How much of his words at the trial are credible? How much of the remorse in his letters of repentance are true? Only he himself knows. Another hypothesis regarding the motive of the murder is to study abroad. According to QQ, Wu Xiyu had a secret crush in high school named Cici. However, Mrs. Shea Tianqin opposed Wu Xiyu's dating. After graduation, Cici went to study abroad, and the two began to drift apart. Wu Xiyu messaged Cici at 8 a.m. U.S. time every day to report his schedule. A few months before murdering his mother, he also asked his high school classmates on QQ about issues related to the SAT. Therefore, after murdering his mother, he defrauded 1.44 million yuan, nearly $190,000, to study abroad, but ultimately could not do so. In conclusion, whatever the motive, no matter how many speculations there are, it cannot justify Wu Xiyu's act of murdering his biological mother. If, as he said, he wanted to die but was too cowardly, then the appellate court upholding the death sentence would be the best outcome for him. In late June 2015, a week before she was murdered, Mrs. Shea Tianqin told a colleague that she had just bought a new pair of shoes for Wu Xiyu to wear when he returned home. Her son's feet were large, making it difficult to buy shoes, and she had spent a lot of time choosing them. The shoes were left at his home so that when he visited his grandmother during the summer, he could wear them. Her voice was full of anticipation, as if returning to the moment the mother and son first met on October 7th, 1994, over 20 years ago. A child's life begins in the open arms of a mother. On July 10, 2015,
The last meeting between mother and son ended with the son's unilateral farewell. The Wu Xieyu case closes, leaving behind lingering questions about human nature, the tragedy of a family, and the hidden corners of the soul of someone once considered a genius. Wu Xiyu's journey from academic prodigy to death row inmate is a warning about cognitive distortion, the consequences of unhealed psychological trauma, and the dangerous symbiotic relationship. Although the verdict has been announced, controversies surrounding Wu Xiyu's true motive remain. Was it liberation for his mother, as he claimed, or a crime concealed by the perfect facade of a fallen genius? The answer, perhaps, only he himself knows. His story is not just a simple criminal case, but a profound lesson about life, about how we face loss and pain, and about the importance of balance in relationships. Today's video ends here. See you in the next video. Goodbye.